Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Stone Cold Hockey video to do with WHA The Last Dance, 1978-79, and the fact that only 6 teams are actively playing games, that being Edmonton, Quebec, Cincy, New England, Winnipeg, and Birmingham. Indianapolis folded at 4-21. The Soviet Union played a summer series against all the WHA teams, dropping only 1 point. That was to Quebec, and the Czechs won over Birmingham on the final day. Edmonton looking pretty good, leading the WHA with Quebec second. Cincy surprisingly third. New England fourth. Winnipeg fifth. Birmingham is not doing so well. They're losing twice as many as they are winning. As you look at the goal scoring thing, you see Peter Marsh with 39, which is good. But look at top. Real Cluche, 81. Dude, you got to add, I don't know what the score factor is. Peter Marsh is 39. So 39 plus 24 is what? 63 and then 18. So you at Peter Marsh plus Rick 5 plus Dan Weir equals Real Cluche. Those are even goals. Cluche is crushing the goals and the points at 118. He's 30 points ahead of Robbie Ftorek, who's second in the list. Ken Nielsen third. So Real Cluche is playing like there's no tomorrow, and there's many games left. Penalty minutes, if you must know, is 182 by Scott Campbell. Rick 5, 181, even though he's got 24 goals. Yeek. Morris Lukwich has 36 goals, but he has 91 penalty minutes. Jim Corsi leads the goal scoring thing for the non-Russian and Czechs with 297. Eddie Meal, 308, coming from Indy to Edmonton. And Richard Brodeur, number 3 at 316. So, you got a lot of things like that. And all that stuff. Standings wise, that's what happens. Many teams have played a lot. Winnipeg's played 59. They played a lot of games. Points percentage wise, yeah, they're really good. They would be fifth place. Birmingham just sucks. Yeah, they put 5 teams. I put 4 versus 5. 4 versus 5, so it's right now New England versus Winnipeg. Goal scoring, Winnipeg does have 227. Quebec's second at 225. They have given up 230 goals. Winnipeg has. The less goals against is Edmonton and Quebec. Winnipeg played a lot of them. Edmonton is better on the road than at home, which is weird. Quebec is better at home on the road. Cincy's better on the road. New England's better at home. Winnipeg's better at home. And Birmingham's better at home. Highlights, best wins and all that. Yeah, the Czechs beat Birmingham, that last one. 27 hat tricks. Real Cluche has a lot of them. He has 1 hat trick. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Dude has 12 hat tricks. Peter Sullivan had a hat trick, but he lost his game. So 12 hat tricks, 36. If he scored all his goals through hat tricks, he would be tied for second in goal scoring. Memorable games, number 1 is Edmonton, Quebec from November 21st when Quebec was up 3-0 and managed to lose in overtime 7-6. Edmonton on January 26th, down 6-3 to Cincy, came back to win. Gretzky, Hamilton, Chipperfield in regulation, and then Silton in overtime. Birmingham 6-5 on Winnipeg. After Winnipeg was up 5-1, Birmingham forced overtime to put the shutout. Also, other 50 points. Winnipeg, Indy from October 28th when Indy was up 4-1 and choked. And Indy beating New England, one of their 4 wins, 7-4. Any other Indy wins being in the top 30? No. Okay, so we're focusing on Saturday night games and all that. New England will play Quebec first. So New England plays Quebec and Quebec. So New England will play Quebec and Birmingham, Edmonton. So we got to find out about Winnipeg. So the plan is to do the New England Quebec game, and then we'll do Birmingham, Edmonton on the next day. All right, so first game of our triple header, New England at Quebec. 29-25 won New England versus 32-19 Quebec. Al Smith in the net for the Whale with John Garrett backing him up. And King Richard Brodeur for Quebec, who 3 years later would make his presence known in the NHL as leading the Canucks to the conference finals, even though that the Canucks were less than ideal, and everyone thought Edmonton was going to run away with the conference title with a dish in the spoon. Jim Corsi and Louis Lafossa are their backup goalies. New England has, no surprise, the Hellboys, Mark, Marty, and Gordy, who they swiped from Houston after Houston had to fold. So the Whalers said, hey, let's take these guys. And they did. Under WHA, who seemed to be on a new team every year, but still was a good WHA icon. Mike Rogers, who later go on to do good things with 100 points for the Rangers. David Keon, Toronto number 14 forever. Gordy Roberts, 1,000 games as an American defenseman, which he was the first to do, not Brian Leetch. Warren Miller, Mike Antonovich, Pie McKenzie, who had 2 Stanley Cups with the Bruins and then left for the WHA. George Lyle, Alan Hansleben, Rick Lay, a WHA icon. Ron Plum, Jordy Douglas, Brett Selwood, another former Leaf defenseman who went to the WHA. Jim Warner, Blaine Stoughton, who was a Leaf prospect but went to the WHA because he couldn't get the contract and became a Whalers legend. Larry Plow, a WHA icon. Jack Carlson, part of the Slapshot game. Dave Inkpen, Pierre Watt, and Jeff Brubaker. Quebec has Real Cloutier, the 81 goal scorers. Plus, over under, I say 3. People are going to take the over on him. Mark Tardif, also a good player, former Hab. Serge Bernier, Rich Leduc, Paul Baxter, Bob Fitchner, J.C. Tremblay, another former habitant. Gary Lariviere, the Barlow boys, Pauline and Christian. Alain Cote, Kurt Brackenberry, Dan Jeffrion, the son of Boom Boom Jeffrion. Francis Lacombe, for Seal Dale Hoganson. Norm Dubé, Shields Bilodeau, Wally Weir, Kevin Morrison, Richard David, Jim Dory, who had 8 penalties in his first game in the NHL. Pierre Lacasse, Kevin Devine, and Rene Leclerc. Here we go. 4 minutes into the game, no one takes a penalty. It's Hank Lubin. Quebec? No. Get rid of it! Avantage numérique. Troisième un but de la saison de Bernier. This is par Baxter, numéro 33, et Tardif, numéro 53. 5 minutes petit. New England, tir de but. Mike Rogers is 27 from Warren Miller, Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Won't you be mine? From Miller and Stoughton. Stoughton, his numbers are a little slow, but he played from Indianapolis. Session? Trevor Fowler, New England takes penalty. Hank Levin again. They killed the zone on Pauline and Christian. 3 minutes later. Shot no. And then nothing. Battle is over. New England delivers a hit, but after 20 minutes, it's ones all around the board. 3 minutes later. New England takes a Pitsky. Oh, Habilakoy. They're good. His 26 from Jordy Douglas, 2-1. Much later. No. 2 minutes later, battle of the Union it's Jordy Roberts this time. Quebec. They killed his own Real Cloutier and Paul Baxter. They're trying to ruin Cloutier's day. Markel scores! Mark that down. Markel is the boy. The man. 29th goal from Douglas and Antovich. 3-1. 3 minutes later. Chance for Brackenberry? No. Aggression? Chance for New England scores. Antonovich hits the magical 20 mark from Marty and Gordy Roberts. 4-1. This game's over. Lafesseur is going to get a chance in the net. 5 minutes later. Agitator? New England gets agitated and Howell takes them penalty. And Brackenberry gets hit. 3 minutes later. Chance for Mike Rogers. Nose. Trying to score again. 4 goals. 4 minutes later. Rogers will fight Serge Bernier, a pair of ringers, if you will. They're not really close. Quebec takes administrative. No. Yeah, Rogers and Bernier are not really goal scorers. Are goal scorers, not fighters. Russian? Quebec takes the first minor. It's Bordelot. They killed the stone, and that's it. The New England Whale win 4-1, and they snuff out Real Cloutier. They don't give them one single goal. So, yeah, they're trying to stifle Quebec. Stifle! Didn't mean to make it that way, but anyway, yeah, New England beats Quebec 4-1. All right, on the 25th, so Winnipeg, New England, and Cincy, Quebec have to be simulated. New England beats Winnipeg, and Quebec, how many goals did Mr. Cloutier get? Just 1, but he beat Cincy. All right, on to Birmingham versus Edmonton. Pat Regan, future Bruins and Caps goalie in the NHL, will get started over Ernie Wakely and Wayne Wood. Dave Dryden back in the net for Edmonton. Ken Dryden's older brother, who played against Ken Dryden once. Eddie Meal, Ed Walsh, and Hanu Campari are going to be waiting on the sidelines. Birmingham not doing so well, 18 and 37. Their real record was that way, so they have to go 14, 5, and 6 to take that mark. Edmonton much better than their real record suggests. But this is fictional, not reality. Anyway, Birmingham known as the Baby Bulls, 5 players. Rick 5, I think Michel Goulet was 18 years old when he was taken. No, I don't think so. It was 5, Hartsburg, Ramage, Gaston Shingra, and Pat Reagan were all taken at 18 years old to play in the WHA. The NHL, you had to be 19 to play and to be drafted. Now it's 18. Okay, Rick 5, 50 goal scorer for the Leafs, the first 50 goal scorer for the Leafs. Michel Goulet, Nordique / Blackhawk icon. Rick Aduro, Paul Henderson, yes, that Paul Henderson, who scored the winning goal for Canada 72. John Stewart, Craig Hartsburg, future coach and North Stars defenseman. Bramage, damn it, I should have said he who should not be spoken of because of the whole thing with the Fiegler homicide of one Keith Magnuson, and he sucked as Leaf captain. Bob Stevenson, Steve Valley, Wayne Dillon, and Louis Slager, who 5 years later would find himself in deep trouble after he kind of ended Sean Hamel's career. Dave Gorman, Gaston Shingra, who played for both the Habs and Leafs, a rarity. Dave Hansen, part of the Slapshot thing. Serge Bourdin, Tony Castelletto, Jim Tukowitz, Peter Marin, Greg Tibet, Brett Hughes, Gavin Kirk, who played for the franchise ever since day one, where they were in Ottawa, then they went to Toronto, then now with Birmingham. Keith Crowder. Edmonton has the great one, of course, with Blair McDonald, who's also good, Brett Callahan, Ron Chipperfield, the first captain in Northern history in the NHL, Bill Cowboy Flight, that foreign flyer, Dennis Subchuk, Stan Weir, Joe Micheletti, who did a lot of things with the Rangers and radio. Oh, and I forgot to talk about Stan Weir, is that hopefully meese are not thrown on the ice because of that 1980 penalty shot thing. You got to watch that. Paul Schmier, Al Hamilton, number 3 in your programs first. Whether to have his never retired just by him not playing in the NHL at all. Steve Carlson, another part of Slapshot. Peter Driscoll, part of the indie move with Gretzky and Eddie Meal. Dave Hunter, great player. Claire Alexander, Langevin, who played for the Islanders in the Stanley Cup runs. Dave Semenko, the bodyguard. John Hughes, not the film director. Doug Barry, Garnet Ace Bailey, not the Ace Bailey of the 1930s. Well, Garnet died 9/11, unfortunately. Rachel Sintlin, Bill Goldsworthy, yeah, Minnesota North Stars icon, and then he went to the WHA. Wow. Jim Nielsen, former Ranger. Pierre Guite, West George. Here we go. 5 minutes into the game, Birmingham takes a penalty. It's Stevenson. And the others take advantage? No, sir. Not even the great one can do anything. And then we can take the penalty. Schmier. Birmingham, cut scores. Papa Power goal. Henderson scores for Canada. No. Henderson scores for Birmingham. His 13 from John Stewart. 4 minutes later. Enforcer. Aggression. Double hit by Birmingham. No penalty. Henderson gets the penalty. It's Driscoll. Birmingham scores. Papa goal. Dave Gorman, his 5th from Ramage and Hartsburg. 2-0. And that's 2-0 Birmingham after 20 minutes. 3 minutes later, in the second period, aggression. The bait, and it's going to be Langevin. Can Birmingham score again? They do. Ottawa, no. He's going to power play goal. Cha-cha-cha. His 19th from Henderson in 5. There's a fight. It's Ottawa and Semenko. Well, Ottawa got rocked, but at least he has a goal to speak of. No fight. 4 minutes later, Birmingham hits the penalty. It's Johnny Stewart. And where's that? Hey! Siltanen. Stay from Langevin and Schmier. I think they're all defensemen, right? Siltanen, Langevin, and Schmier? Yeah. Okay, fine. The Birmingham's up 3-1 after 40. 3 minutes later. Unfortunately, another 3. Newton? Callahan? No. 3 more minutes. Birmingham? Dylan? No. Looks like they're killing the clock. And I think they will. Time for the Nets to be emptied of mice. And Birmingham, somehow, in some freaking way, go in Edmonton and win 3-1. Unreal. Henderson, Gorman, and Ottawa scoring for Birmingham. Siltanen for Edmonton. Every goal was a power play goal. That is creepy. I've never seen that before. 4 goals, all of them. So now we got to see Cincy plays Winnipeg. at all the next season. So Cincy, their schedule against Winnipeg, they play them on March the 7th. Okay, so March 7th, we will have to, so we will simulate the week. March the 4th. Okay, so March 7th. Cincy has to play Winnipeg, and that's where we will leave off. Edmonton, Quebec beats Edmonton. All right. Winnipeg, 9 games below 500. Cincy, surprisingly, 3 games above 500. I swear they're playing just like the Flint Tropics in the movie Semi Pro about the ABA. So Winnipeg's really terrible. If they wanted to keep their real record, they have to go 13 donut and 4. I doubt that. Cincy has almost got as many wins in this simulation as they did in real life. Michel Dion, not related to Celine Dion for Cincy in the Nats, but his backup would be much better in the NHL than Dion. He was okay for Pittsburgh and Quebec in the Nets, but Mike Liut was better because, after all, Liut did help St. Louis become one of the best teams in 1981 and was runner-up for the Hart Trophy for MVP behind Gretzky. And you'll be thinking, well, at least he won the Vezina, right? No. And it's not because of voting problems. It's because the Vezina, before 1982, was awarded to the goalie who played 25 plus games and was part of the team that gave up the fewest goals against. So practically, like that's why Dryden and Bunny LaRock won so many Vezinas and all that. If the Vezina was for top goalie, Leo was going to win one. Joe Daly, the WHA OG, if you will, in the net for Winnipeg. Gary Smith and Marcus Matson sitting on the sidelines. Winnipeg has Kent Nielsen, who would do much better for the Flames organization. Morris Lukowich, whose brother Ed was a two-time Canadian curling champion. Peter Sullivan, Terry Roskowski, Willie Lindstrom, who went to the Yellow Drop, Rich Preston, Barry Long, Bill Lessick, Lyle Moffat, Bob Gwendon, John Gray, Paul Tennerbush, Mike Amadeo, Scotty Campbell, Paul McKinnon, Glenn Hicks, Roland Erickson, Steve West, Kim Claxton, Bobby Hall, who's been suffering, Bill Davis, Lars Eric Schilberg, John Gibson, not the former Kitchener Rangers goalie, and Ted Green, former Bruins icon. Cincy has Robbie Ftorek in the Nets, future head coach, Reg Thomas, Jimmy Hislop, Peter Marsh, Craig Norwich, Mike Gardner, the 700 goal man for the Rangers, the North Stars, the Capitals, the Leafs, and the Coyotes. Bill Gilligan, what a name. Rick Dudley, another future NHL head coach. Dave Debo, Chuck Luxa, Daryl Maggs, Byron Shutt, Barry Melrose, another former NHL coach coming up. Byron Baltimore, Michel Pariseau, Dave Forbes, Barry Legg, a young Mark Messier who went from Tier 2 hockey to the WHA. You can't make this shit up. Claude St. Sauveur, Gordon Clark, Ed Shelbert, Paul Stewart, Brian Watson, and Kelly Davis. Final team of the game, Cincy Skiers. I am Lord, yeah. I am Lord, yeah. No, you're Peter, yeah. Peter Marsh is 42nd from Legg and Gilligan. I thought Barry Legg. Oh, it was long. Okay, Legg. Gresham. Winnipeg takes the 2 minute. Sullivan. They have to kill the zone. 3 minutes later. Winnipeg Skiers. Kent Nielsen. You can't believe that. You can't believe everything. His 34 from Moffat and McKinnon. 1 minute later, Winnipeg Skiers. Peter Puckett Eater. His 24 from Nielsen. A lot of time later, no. Winnipeg up 2-1 through 20 minutes. 4 more minutes. Aggression. Winnipeg takes the penalty. It's Claxon for 2. And they score! Victoria from Norwich and Gardner makes it 2-2 on the power play. Throw that bench on the ice. 5 minutes later, since he takes a penalty, it's going to be Barry Legg. Winnipeg Skiers, power play goal. Roskowski, his 14 from Lukowich and Gray. 3-2. 2 minutes later, Winnipeg Skiers, Lukowicz. Hurry hard, sweep, puck, sweep. His 39 from Amadeo and Sullivan, 4-2. 3 minutes later, enforcer, aggression, I'll fight. Claxton and Barry Melrose. Well, Barry Melrose, I hate your frickin' mullet. When you're a chief coach. Saints of 4 for 4-3. No. When they got 4-2, they are going to put Liu in the net, trying to improve their fortune. 6 minutes later. The Mexicans. Peter Solomon does it again. Jets, Jets. 5-2 from Lindstrom and Winden. 2 minutes later. Cincinnati. 5 more minutes. Winnipeg comes to the clock. Cincy trying to score. But no. Cincy will get a penalty. And Scott Campbell scores on the power play from Lindstrom and Lukowicz. 6-2. Well, I think all 3 games, the lower ranked team actually won. So basically, it was upset. So 6-2. Cincy had no chance. None. So whatever. Winnipeg's chasing Cincy for a top 4 spot. You love it. Okay, Thursday, nothing. Friday, pair of games. Edmonton and Quebec won. Saturday, there's 1 game. We'll worry about that later. Edmonton is on top of the world right now at 80 points. Quebec 77, New England 69. Cincy still 4th with 64. Winnipeg is got 56. Birmingham just sucks. They have 39 points. Real WHA now has 90 goals in 61 games. He still's got what? How many games? I think 17, right? Something like that. 19, 80 games. So 1 goal a game. WHA can get 109. He's got 90 goals. Peter Marsh second with 42. Lukowicz has 39. Points wise, WHA's got this in hand. 131. Tarjev, Nielsen, and Faturk are going to try to get to 100. Corsi, Meal, and Brodeur are your goalies of record, if you will, by goals against. But yeah, Edmonton looking good. You know you got Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky's 23rd, by the way, in points. In goals, Gretzky's 21st with 21. He's on fire. But that's all I've got for today. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond to do.